I've been doing music since I was about 12 years old, writing songs about different things that have happened in my life. And this past year, after releasing my debut single, I Can't Breathe, after all of the protests last year, I realized that there's so many messages that you can convey using music, whether it's for social justice or common life problems or relationship problems or mental health and personal things.
And you've participated in marches. You were in Washington, you were in Minnesota, using your voice as a musician. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
When I first released my debut song, I Can't Breathe, I performed it in Indianapolis at our state capitol. And this was at one of the largest protests for racial justice in 30 years in Indianapolis. So that was my first time performing it in front of over 10,000 people. And after that, people were telling me that message needs to be heard everywhere, not just in my community. So I ended up going to Washington for the March on Washington about a month or two later in August. And then from there, just traveling to different communities and organizations across the country to convey this message and to challenge people to become involved in advocacy in a different form. And it's not always just protesting. Sometimes it's through your music or your art or your fashion or your poetry or things that you do naturally.
And as a woman, as a young woman at that, and also a very young woman, a youth, do you feel that your voice is heard?
From being persistent, organizing, protesting, doing different forms of advocacy work for the past year, and just even within a month doing things consistently, being persistent, I'd say my voice has been heard and it's been respected and taken seriously just from that. My grandfather marched with Martin Luther King Jr. and met him, and he went to all my elementary and middle and high school programs and spoke about that experience. So just having that history in my family, my mom's name is Coretta after Coretta Scott King.
Oh.
I would say kind of just made sense for me to be vocal and be that voice.
What would your message be to young people like yourself? How they can participate, how they can use their voice?
I would say for young people, my main message is that we all have a platform, whether that's our 5 friends or our 50 family members or our 500 to 5,000 followers on social media. Your voice can be through speaking like how I do, or through your music like how I do, or it can be through different forms of arts, which is what I've really tried to express this past year through this term artivism, inspiring activism through art. Like you can make paintings, like murals across the country have spoke volumes, and that's no one's speaking, that's artists doing what they love to do to convey a message.